This is my video for how I made my Alder shirt dress from Grainline Studio. So here I'm showing the instructions, basically just to show you how you're supposed to add the interfacing. Just to start out with, you can see I added it here. Now I'm actually doing view B, I think it is. I don't know. It's the one that has the gathering around the waist. Instead of just like the flat front and back. I don't know, if you are familiar with this pattern, you'll know what I'm talking about. So you can see this is the interfacing on the button placket. Now, you should be careful and not do what I did, because I actually ended up not cutting out my pieces correctly, or just one of the pieces. Excuse me. The way the two front pieces work are you're supposed to have one that's a little bit longer, which is the one that is being sewn right now, and it gets folded over twice and then sewn together. And then you have the other piece that's supposed to be a little bit thinner, and then you actually sew the button placket piece onto that, so it shouldn't be as long as this one. Now, I didn't realize that whenever I first cut out my pieces. This is something that you have to kind of pay attention whenever you're actually cutting it out, because it says so on the paper pattern pieces as opposed to in the instructions. I mean, maybe it does. Maybe I just wasn't paying attention. Anyway, so basically, moral of the story, I had to cut off my original work and then resew it, so you could save yourself a lot of effort if you did that. And so now I'm just top stitching over top of my button placket, and in a second you're actually going to see that I already have the pocket pinned onto this piece, and that's because this was after I had realized my little mistake, and I was trying to attach the pockets whenever I realized that something was definitely wrong. I mean, thankfully it wasn't too big of a deal. I was mostly worried that I would have to throw away some pieces, but it worked out fine in the end. Here I'm actually just sort of adjusting the pockets by just like eyeballing it, because I did use the location on the pattern piece, as you can see, but I just wanted to make sure it looked right. And right here I am sewing up the yoke. And I didn't have to do a French seam for this part because of the way that the yoke is made. So it has two pieces that sort of sandwich the main piece. So you actually don't see any raw edges, even though they're not finished off anyway like a French seam. So that's really nice. I tend to use French seams in my sewing because I really like the way that it looks. It's really clean, and I don't have a serger, and I don't really want one because I don't actually like the way it looks, and it seems like a hassle to actually figure out how to get it done. Here I'm just sewing up the shoulder seams, and you'll notice first sew them wrong sides together and then sew them right sides together for the French seam. I'm sure there's plenty of good instructional videos online about French seams. It's pretty easy when you get the hang of it, actually. actually making this dress, I was kind of in a bit of a rush because I was trying to finish up this dress before I went on a trip. And I did plan ahead for it. Like, I had everything ready over 2 weeks in advance. The only issue was I had gotten sick 2 weeks before my trip. So I couldn't do anything. I even took off of work, but I couldn't even use that time to sew because I was feeling so horrible. But it ended up working out because I was able to finish off. This is probably the trickiest part if you do French seams and you attach the gathered skirt part. There is a tutorial on the Grainline Studio blog for this. I don't think I got it completely right though, so I don't know. It might just be something that requires a bit of trial and error. So, I mean, it's not terrible looking, it's just not perfect. But it ended up looking really nice in the end, so I guess that's really all that matters, right? So you can see here, you got a snip, which is like really terrifying. I'm sure you can imagine. I think you're also you're not supposed to. It's optional for you to top stitch that gathered piece as well. I decided against that because there were so many layers of fabric, and I was really done at that point, and I just wanted to get on to finishing off the armholes and doing the hem and the buttons finally. So you can see it's definitely a right angle, and it's not perfect as you can see, but it looks a lot better than if I hadn't followed the tutorial. Now the collar is collars are always really tricky, but I think the method that they say to use in the tutorial on the blog and in the instruction booklet is incredibly helpful. I have never had that much ease with actually like doing a collar. I always mess something up. I mean, I did mess something up with this, but it was very minor, and it was much easier to get it looking at least somewhat normal. And then next time I'll know better what to do and it'll be even easier. So that's really great. So this part that's happening right now, that's the main thing I would say that really helps out. And of course the tutorial does have a full step-by-step on how to do this. I was really actually confused by the tutorial on how you're supposed to do this step that I'm doing right now. So you're supposed to like tuck everything inside. I did something wrong the first time. I don't remember exactly what it was, but the photos on the blog really are what threw me off. It was actually the illustrations that helped clarify it for me, the illustrations that are actually in the instruction booklet that comes with the pattern. So like I said, you kind of want to look at both, and I know it's kind of annoying to have to like go back and forth, but it really is like both of them are really important, were really important for me.